Spur pruning. What we're doing here effectively is moving away from two canes and creating permanent arms each side of the vine, and then targeting about 5 spur sites on each side to give us the cropping levels that we require. To do that, we look for vertical pointing spurs, and we know that what we will finish up with will be a perfect distribution of fruit through here during the summer months, enabling us to leaf pluck it well, keep it well exposed and produce top quality fruit. So effectively what we are doing are taking away the spurs from the head of the vine and moving those up into the permanent cordons here. And that becomes a permanent feature of the vine, and we no longer look for any spur sites or fruiting arms down in here. Now what we're looking for is evenly spaced gaps between our spur sites and selecting upward pointing spurs, always deriving from the lowest point. So if we take this here and we're going to 2 buds, 1 bud clear, 2 buds. Fingers gap between the cut on a slight angle. Here's a classic example. That's our spur we're going to retain, and we take the old upper bud off. And those are our 2 buds for next year. This one comes off, it's the higher one, and we go to there. 2 buds, 1, 2 for next year. Here we come into the lowest one, which is here, and take this bottom one out of there. We've got 1, 2 buds. Here's another classically good example of 1, 2 buds there, and the old wood comes off, so we're always coming back. So I'm looking for my next spur site from here to here. So there's my bud, I'm taking the lowest bud down, which means I can remove all this older wood in here. So keeping it back close to the cordon all the time. This one I'll remove. So I'm coming back down to the lowest one here. 1, 2, that's gone. That leaves me 2 clear buds. And exactly the same here. 1, old wood off, 1, 2 buds. Close, small finger apart from the last bud. Same again here, the old wood out, 1, 2. I've got a perfect spacing between this spur site and this one here. This one is crowding it out and it's starting to get taller and older, so we will take that one right back to here. And that will regenerate from that point next year. Here's another perfect example of 1 bud, 2 buds behind here, cut, and the old wood out. Another example here, up to 1, 2 buds there. And here. Here's the 2 buds here, that one, and we will take this one right back. Perfect spacing in between. When we're defining 2 fruiting buds, we're looking for the first bud to have a clear gap between where it is in terms of 1-year-old wood and 2-year-old wood. So we can quite clearly see that there's a clear gap between this bud and last year's wood. So that becomes bud 1, and bud 2 is up here. So we would define that as the first fruitful bud, and this as being the second fruitful bud. So for 2 buds pruning, the cut would be there. From this point to that point is still a hand span apart, but we do need to avoid crowding the head with excessive buds. So the ideal cut here to avoid the pudding bowl effect, is what I call it, would be to remove that and retain this perfect gap in between here. So to do that, we'll need a pair of loppers and take it off. This will provide growing points for the following years. So dormant buds all in this whirl around here. Here's a perfect example of a bud whorl that's regenerated. There are dormant buds all around the base of here. And this has just been cut this winter. We had the same scenario here last winter, and we can see that we have got a perfectly good regeneration of a spur site. So my cut will be through here, and this will now establish itself as a spur site for this year, and it will start all over again, which is perfect. So checking our spacings between our spur sites, which should be around about 150 mils, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's absolutely perfect. If you see ties between 2 live buds on cordon extensions and they're starting to strangle, you do need to undo those and take them right off, because they will strangle that cord on there, which could be here for 20 years and you don't want to lose it. Be very conscious of that. Any tying should be past the live wood, so remove those. And if you do need to tie, make sure that it is beyond the live wood, like on this dead wood here. Our preference is always to choose upward pointing spurs, but if we do have to select spurs that are pointing inwards, we're quite comfortable selecting spurs that are pointing in with the cover of the post. So we've got the protection of the post, so these shoots will grow up and will be well protected by the post. If they're on the outside, they will tend to get knocked off more easily. So slightly inward pointing shoots coming this way with the protection of the post is quite acceptable. Okay, now obviously we'll find that the barrel pruner can't get everything around the post, so when you come to the post you will have a few long shoots that haven't been cut. So you will have to cut those, but you can do so by holding them like this, and that one off and clicking there, and then this will come off there, and there's the two buds there. So I've got rid of that very easily just by pulling that out. Okay, so that was my last cut. Before I take any more off this cordon, it pays to always look ahead, knowing that you're targeting 5 or 6 spur sights on one side of each cordon. I can quickly see that I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I've got at least one too many. So I need to keep that even spatial gap. So my next gap from here is to this one, which is perfect. So this one here is starting to crowd it out. So it's an opportunity to take this one right back. Also it points outwards and it's not the most preferred position. So he comes right off, and now we're back into our perfect gap here. You can see 1, 2, perfect gap. This is an inward pointing spur, but we'll keep that, at least it will go up this way. Here's our next one, perfect spacing. Take that natural off, 1, 2. And here's a perfect one here, 1, 2, and that back one can come right out. And our last one on this side is here, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So here's my perfect gap is between here and there. Now all of a sudden we've got one too many in here, so we need to remove that one. So that one will come right out, and you can see now we've got the perfect gap. This will be back to 2 buds. We've also got a tie here that's strangling, so I need to take that off. And then we'll come back to the lowest one, which is here. One, 2. Perfect gap to the next one, and another tie, we'll take that off, just so it doesn't strangle it. We have a bottom one, we don't want any spurs coming from underneath, so that comes off cleanly, and we go back to this side here. Perfect gap. Our next gap is here. Our best shoot is from the bottom. It's a little weak shoot, so we'll take that back to 1 bud rather than 2, because that's a better sight than the one sticking out the side here. Even though it's a small spur, it'll still be fruitful.